the financial literacy curriculum. This is a bill I worked on with the AG's office and the Department of Education. What this will do is it requires the Board of Education to integrate financial literacy education into grades 6 through 8 by the 26-27 school year. Applies to all public schools. It requires that beginning with year 2031, high school students must take and pass either a 1/2 Carnegie Unit course in personal finance or a full Carnegie Unit course that devotes at least half of its curriculum to financial literacy. It creates a fund called the Financial Literacy Trust Fund. It's a special fund within the Department of Treasury, State Treasury, to support financial literacy. Administered by the Board of Education. This fund can receive state and federal contributions. Unused funds will revert to the state general fund at the end of the fiscal year. And a biennial audit will be conducted, and an annual report will be submitted to the legislature. The Department of Banking and Consumer Finance may contribute a portion of their funds from penalties and fees that they collect to this program. On line 435, it talks about what topics must be taught in these courses that are integrated into the curriculum. Decision-making, earning an income, saving and spending, using credit, and budgeting. Then in 37.301, it integrates financial literacy into the curriculum. Districts may partner with other community organizations such as USDA, HUD, Junior Achievement, local banks, and nonprofit organizations. And it becomes effective July 1st of this year. And I'll yield for any questions if there are any. Senator Hobson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. While I think this is very laudable, and I'm likely to vote for this, I know we passed a bill last week that would add an additional civics course to our curriculum too. And I'm wondering if there have been any discussions with the Department of Education as to incorporating two different programs into the current curriculum. Is there room to put these programs in?
That was a consideration, and I figured that question would come up. I think there's got to be a way we can merge these two courses into one somehow, maybe taught in the same year, do what Senator Wiggins was trying to do, and then also do a financial class. Then again, I know the House has this bill at the other end, but I don't think they have a civics bill that may not be coming over. So I'd like to at least keep this one alive. That way we have a chance of getting one passed in case they don't want to take up the civics as well. But that's the House. You need to go talk to them, Senator Wiggins. But before I take them up off the floor, I'm going to talk with the department some more and see how we can continue to, at least keep this one alive, as well as the civics that Senator Wiggins has authored as well.
Thank you for that explanation, Mr. Chairman.
Any further questions? Seeing none, I'll hear a motion. And this is a committee sub. Okay. All right. Motion is title sufficient due pass, committee sub. All in favor say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. I want to skip down, to Senate Bill 2601. We'll take that one up. That is dealing with the Education Scholarship Account Program. We're going to make a few changes to that, proposed anyways, in Senate Bill 2601. It allows parents, guardians, or schools to request reimbursement for qualifying expenses. Really, this all begins on line 159, is where the meat of this legislation or the amendments begin. Basically, it allows reimbursement for expenses after a student returns to a public school. Unused ESA funds will be returned to the student's home district if they return before the end of the semester. If they don't return to the home district, any remaining ESA funds will be sent to the general fund. Beginning on line 186, it removes the 500 student cap. From this point forward, the The program will be funded by the appropriations that it's provided to it. Line 239, currently the Department of Education can deduct up to 6% as an administrative expense. And talking with them, we can eliminate that and make that a straight up appropriation. Line 261, the department must implement a process to determine eligibility of all schools. 278, the schools must participate in schools must inform parents about other scholarship programs. 289, the pre and post test must be the same test so we can get a good idea of how the students are doing and how the schools are doing. Line 290 and through 292, it deals with special needs children and allows for accommodations for those types of those students. And that is an explanation of Senate Bill 2601. I'll yield for any questions. Seeing no questions, do I hear a motion? Committee sub, motion is title sufficient due pass on Senate Bill 2601. Committee sub, all in favor say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. We're going to skip over number 4, the charter school, number Senate Bill 2593. The House has a bill that we're going to use to bring that up. Senate Bill 2618, school attendance officers. We'll bring that one up next. And this is something that we've heard quite a bit about. Actually, let me go back to the ESA bill real quickly. This is important because by removing that 6%, we're going to increase the appropriation amount to get rid of that waiting list. We actually, with the bill you passed last year, it required parents to be accepted into the school before they can receive the scholarship. So now the department's got a good number of what the waiting list is, which was about 150 students. And so working with Senator Hobson, we're going to increase the appropriation roughly $2 million to accommodate all the students and to get rid of the waiting list. School attendance officers, you've been hearing about that for several years now. And I think it's something that I think both sides of the Capitol are going to be pushing for this year. So what it does, it transfers all SAOs that are employed by the Department of Education, transfers employment responsibility to the local school districts effective July of this year. Districts will directly employ and supervise these SAOs. The state will fund one SAO for every 3,000 students enrolled in our public schools. We're going to increase their salary up to $34,000 per year, which is up, I think, almost $10,000 a year. It's about 25% increase over their current salary. Unused accumulated leave will transfer to the school districts. They'll maintain enrollment in PERS and the health insurance. If the SAO should happen to work for 2 school districts, the districts shall have a cost sharing program. Still must conduct a criminal background and child abuse check on each SAO. The other thing is we've increased I guess these education requirements. Instead of just being a social work, having a bachelor of social work, we've increased it to education, criminal justice, other areas, other fields. That way we can get more SAOs potentially into the field. In section 371391, you heard issues about chronic absenteeism. After the 5th absence, the SAO must report, districts must report to the SAOs at their 5th unexcused absence within 24 hours, and reinforces that youth courts can file petitions against the parents who don't comply with the truancy laws. And that is an explanation of the committee sub. Any questions? Senator Wiggins?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Where is that area that you mentioned, the youth court?
That is in section 371391. Let me see what line that's on. Line 358, where the code section begins.
358?
Yeah. 366. I think you're in the wrong one.
Well,
Oh.
Mr.
Yeah, I'm looking through. I don't see it specifically in the. Yeah,
Mr.
go ahead, Senator Wiggins.
Mr. Chairman, that was my question, was where these cases would be prosecuted, and I guess the answer is the youth court.
I think you and I have discussed this before. Youth court does have the authority to pursue the parents who are contributing charges. So I think, nothing in this changes that.
Nothing changes it.
No.
Well, I guess I would we have discussed it and just remind the committee, Judiciary A had the hearing on the youth court task force report, and the youth court judges testified that one of the number one things they face is compulsory is lack of attendance. And so I guess my question is, I want to make sure we're actually following through on the prosecution rather than just it happening. If the whole point is to make this children attend school, and
Right.
the answer may be, that's why we are doing a lot with the youth court reform. And this is one of those that can benefit from that.
Right.
But it's not changing anything. And in fact, it's going through youth court. The prosecutor the SAO would, I guess, file a petition or go to the prosecutor, who would then do that. My concern is that in what I call the referee counties, which is what the task force report stated, they recommended getting rid of referee counties because there was not consistency throughout. And my concern is that we would be lapse in those places.
Well, I think if you pass something in through Jud A that changes the law for youth courts, I would love to follow that. But in my experience, the referees that I've come in contact, they're going to follow the law, and I've
I'm not
not.
saying they're bad. I'm just saying.
So, and I've seen youth court referees charge and lock up parents because their kids aren't going to school. So, so my experience, the use of referees is not as bad as what some may say. Maybe in other parts of the state, but where we're at, Senator Wiggins, I don't know that it's as bad as some may think.
Yeah, my point was since we're doing this, the goal is to have children in school, and part of that process is through the youth court system.
And this is, yeah, the House has another version of this. It's not the same. More than likely, it's going to a conference. And so I think there's some other stair-stepping things that we could do. After the 5th absence, the child is notified, bring them to court. At the 7th absence, the parents are brought in even more. And so other states have a stair-step approach until the final, I think, 10th or 12th absence, where they're actually being prosecuted in youth court. So there's a lot of steps that have been had before the parents are finally just brought in at the very end. And that's what I can envision a conference report will look like, whether it's a House or a Senate bill, doesn't really matter to me, as long as we get that in there. And so before the report is filed or drafted, you and I can collaborate some more and make sure it's what we think is appropriate going forward. Okay. Thank you, Senator Wiggins. Senator Hobson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you'll look to line 312, which references the minimum salary that school attendance officers will make starting July 1, 2025, and then move over to lines 316 and following, and it references that the school attendance officers that are currently with the Department of Education will be paid the amount they were paid plus 25%. I'm assuming that, I don't know what they're paid right now, but I'm assuming that the 25% is the minimum that meets that $34,000. Is that your understanding?
That's my understanding and working with counselor. Is that correct, Ian? That's kind of what we thought. Well, and if it's something we got to take out at some other point, bottom line is we want them to have a minimum salary of bump them up to 35 would be the starting 34,000.
Well, if we can verify, and I'll ask council to look into that too, if we can verify that those numbers are correct, because this could create a problem if they're not correct. And then furthermore, that the language would reflect something akin to the amount that they're going to get paid this first year. And then it's up to the local school board after that. There's a minimum salary plus, as you see from the previous section, it'll be that plus the local school board, whatever they approve.
We'll clarify that for you, Senator Hobson.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Seeing no questions, do I hear a motion?
Title sufficient.
Title sufficient do pass. Committee sub is the motion on Senate Bill 2618. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. I'm going to jump back up to number 2, Senate Bill 2602. That is the portability bill that we filed. I'm going to pass over that. My intentions were to bring it up. However, the House has a bill that we're going to look at when it comes over. And, to poll in the committee prior to this hearing, I just don't know that the support there is there for it. So we're going to take up the House bill when it comes over and we'll deal with it at that time. But I wanted to go down to number 6, got time, Senator Hickman's bill, which is Senate Bill 2609. We're not going to vote on it, but I want Senator Hickman to discuss it and talk about it because I think it's a good idea. And it's something we need to discuss because and working with Senator Boyd's a big champion of the special needs children and so forth. But this is something that can help our gifted students, some more academic students. And so I want Senator Hickman, if you could go ahead and explain your bill for us, please.
All right. This bill comes to us actually from one of my community colleges. We've had a early middle college, high school for the last 10 years. Recently, we've had some issues because what we're proposing is basically to codify what we've been doing all along. We've recently had some issues regarding payment and then school districts coming into the consortium and then pulling out. And so most people don't realize there are 2 different types of schools, well, K through 12 schools that exist on college campuses. Some of them are operated completely by the college or the university. We have one of those schools. Some of them are just housed there. And so they fall under our board and all of that. And so it has become difficult for us to plan from year to year how we're going to staff or fund those things because, again, schools pull in and out of the consortium. So basically what this would do is codify what we're doing. It would codify how regional early middle colleges work, and basically what we're asking, what we're wanting to do in this piece of legislation is codify how the funding work, because at this point the funding is going to the district and then the district remits payment for each student to us. We would want to direct the funding to go direct to the early middle college. We had some issues collecting some funding from one of our schools, but we would also, and my idea would be that any high school or any school district that wanted to participate would still have to sign a memorandum of agreement so that their students can be released to us. However, we would want it where once a student has joined the consortium, even if the school district pulls out, that student doesn't have to be pulled out. They don't get to remove that student because, again, we've had that and we staff year by year, and so we can't keep up with staffing. And so that's basically what it does. It basically codifies the idea that we've been doing for, like I said, 10 years. There are other community colleges and universities that have early high schools on their campuses. They've been doing this. It just codifies it, makes it a little more plain, and keeps this whole idea from being kind of a wild, wild west.
Thank you, Senator Hickman. And I just wasn't going to bring it up today because I think Senator Boyd has been working on this dual enrollment or whatever you want to call it, the different forms. The reason I like this bill, I know George County down in my district has kind of the same program, and it's neat to watch kids who have gotten their associate's degree before they graduated high school. And so, you know, and then when he went off to, the student that I know went off to Ole Miss and he got more scholarship money as a transfer student than he did as a freshman with a 30-something on his ACT. And so if there's a way we can work out athletics and all that other stuff, working with Senator Boyd and Senator Hobson, I think there's got to be a way we can help push these kids who get bored in class and become disruptive and so forth. And I think what Senator Hickman has brought forward is a great way to make that happen. So I know Senator Boyd, I recognize you. I know you got some comments.
There was a report that came out in the fall that we were basically leading the country in a lot of different metrics that we saw the other day. But then one of the things that we're really doing a great job is our dual enrollment program. And it is leading to our youth being able to go ahead and go to college and be prepared for college when they get there. So a lot of our rural schools throughout the state don't have some of these programs that many of these kids need and can do and excel in. So I think this is a great program here. I looked at kind of who this program is really targeting, and this is fantastic. And we need more places being creative on how to do stuff like this. So.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Senator Hobson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A few questions for Senator Hickman, one of which is in section 7. It references East Mississippi Community College. Is that supposed to be just East only, or is this for all parts of the state?
Well, working with East Mississippi, this is where it came to. We tried to leave most of the sections pretty open, that it could be for anyone who wanted to participate. But East is the one that's done it for the last 10 years, and they kind of reference themselves as a pilot program. That's one of the things I wanted to look at. If we would have brought the bill up, I would have asked for reversal pillar because there were some changes that I wanted to make within the bill, and have some more conversation with the department. But yeah, this bill came from East. They're the one they've had this program for the longest. Like they've been doing this for 10 years. They've had an early college housing their campus for about 10 years, and they reference themselves as the pilot program.
Well, I know my district has an early college program that's probably been around for about 10 years too. I don't know exactly, but I'm a little concerned that because my community college and my school district have a program too, and I don't know how it matches with East's program. They, you know, by all accounts or most accounts, I think my local folks like the early college program they have, and it may be different than what East has. So I don't want to codify what East has if my local folks have a different program that doesn't meet everything that your program has.
Right. And so, and that's what the attempt was, not to exclude anybody that's already doing anything. Like I said, we've had some particular issues, but we also wanted to create a framework that if other colleges wanted to do exactly what East is doing, they could.
Will you, just one other question after this, will you plan on putting a reverse repealer in this? Because I'm not satisfied with it being East right now. I need to get back with my folks at Hines and my local school district to see if their program matches up with this or not.
Well, I don't know if we're bringing it up, but I had planned to put a reverse pillar anyway, because I'm not completely satisfied with some of the language in here. There's some things that I wanted to work on myself, and if we need to remove some stuff, again, I'll be honest, what we're trying to do is accomplish some simple goals, and that is, one, get some stability in our staff so we can know who's going to come to us from year to year, and two, make sure there's a way that we can receive payment. Like I said, we had a struggle with payment for about 4 years at one of our schools regarding it. And again, our program is run completely by the college. Our board of trustees serve as the board of trustees for this early college. They are a entity within our college. And so again, if it were to come up, my first motion would have been to offer a reversal pillar, because I personally have some changes that I'd like to see in this as well.
Okay.
Senator Hobson, I was not going to bring the bill up. I just wanted him to
I'm
discuss
sorry.
it, just because I think it's a good thing that needs, what Senator Hickman's bill, I believe, was just specifically targeted for his district and his area. rather than a statewide program. And I think it's something that Senator Boyd and we all need to discuss maybe in the off session, how to make it standardized statewide, for example. Because I know some school districts will charge tuition, the community colleges will, some won't. So I just think we need to do more research
And
going
I will
forward.
say,
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I will say regarding this is not, I mean, I think dual enrollment comes into this whole conversation, but this is where we house students and they receive their high school, they go to our campus full time. Like they are still able to participate in sports back home, but all of their academic learning comes from East Mississippi Community College. They bus there in the morning and they spend their full school day and they get their diploma as well as their associate's degree at the same time as a student. So it's a little, it's in the same conversation, but this program particularly is a little different than just your normal dual enrollment students who get their high school classes from their particular local high school.
Thank you, Senator Hickman. Any further cuts? Senator McMahon, I recognize you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I wanted to share that I've had some multiple discussions with the 3 school districts that I represent with their superintendents about this particular legislation. And there's no question that the middle school concept is working across the state. It's got a lot of positive outcomes. With that being said, it's a cooperation between public school, high schools, and community colleges. And we went over this bill this weekend with their teams, with their legal teams. And with this particular bill, I want to find a way to support it. But what this bill does, it's really about the money, and it's going to disrupt a lot of those collaboratives. I would not want to interrupt the collaboratives that's taking place between the public schools currently and the middle schools. These entities work out the payment plan. So in concept, I would support what Senator Hickman's doing, but I would ask for an exemption for the 3 school districts that I represent if you were to bring this forward, because it will create an adversarial relationship instead of a collaborative that they're currently doing. Because right now they're shaking hands and agreeing to what the price is and who's getting what money. And I don't want to interrupt that by forcing something on them, Mr. Chairman. Senator Hickman, I do appreciate what you're doing. And I know you're seeing, y'all are seeing good outcomes, because we're seeing that across the state in these middle schools. And I hope you'll take what I shared as friendly information.
Thank you, Senator McMahon. Any further questions, comments, discussion? Okay. We're also going to pass on number 4 Senate Bill, the 2950 or 2593. The House has the charter school bill that has all the code sections in it that we're going to take up or look at over here as well. So that is it on the agenda. I hear a motion, rise and report. All right.